to the Thought SNOB Podcast. I'm Paula Swope. Let's get snobby. Welcome to another episode of the Thought SNOB Podcast. My name is Paula Swope. I'm your host. And right over there is my husband, Will. And if you've been watching this podcast for any amount of time, you know that we changed the format. And I don't know what the topic or the question is going to be until the last minute. Will gives me a topic or a question, and then I just start talking about it. No preparation, just right off the top of my head. So let's see what he's got for me today.
All right, so today I wanted you to talk about a topic that I know nothing about, but seems to be pretty popular on your TikTok page. I don't know anything about astrology, but you've been discussing Capricorns and something called the Capricorn switch.
Mm-hmm.
And I have no idea like I said, I have no idea what any of that means. So help me understand.
Okay. I will prelude this talk by saying I'm not an expert astrologer, and I've made that abundantly clear on social media. But what I am is somebody who is intrigued by astrology. I don't treat it as it is just, concrete evidence really of anything. But if you study it, then you can use it to learn about people, learn about human behavior, learn about yourself. When astrology is on your side, there are lucky times. Then there are times that you need to avoid certain things due to, the alignment of the planets. And so I'm a Capricorn, first and foremost, which makes me more than qualified to talk about Capricorns. I'm 48 years old. I was born Christmas Day, 1976, so I got 48 years of being a Capricorn, which is the absolute best wisdom, knowledge, and experience a person can have as far as I am concerned. If you're not a Capricorn, it would be difficult to learn the truth about our personality. But if you are a Capricorn, then you're probably going to agree with at least 99% or more of what I'm about to say here. And what I'm about to say is not necessarily applicable to every single Capricorn on the planet, but it rings true for most of us. And Will mentioned just a second ago that my videos are viral on TikTok right now. And I think I have 5 videos that are viral, and all of them are about Capricorns. And it's something that I love to talk about. So I'll start here. The date for Capricorn is, the date range is December 22nd to, I think, January the 19th. So if you fall within that, if your birthday is anywhere from December 22nd to January 19th, then you are a Capricorn. With me, I am a Capricorn Sun, Pisces Moon, Taurus Ascendant, I think.
What does any of that even mean?
Well, to be quite honest with you, I don't know. It's in my birth chart, and there are certain characteristics that are associated with those things, but I'm not an expert on that. I'm an expert on Capricorns. As far as the birth charts go and a lot of the astrology jargon, I'm not real sure about that. I'm just learning, studying, so I don't feel real comfortable talking about that. Some of it I can talk about, but for the most part, I'd rather stay in my lane here so that I don't confuse anybody and because I have a lot of really great information about Capricorns. So the Capricorn switch that I've been talking about on social media is something that just kind of popped in my head, excuse me, as I was talking about Capricorns in a video. The thing about this zodiac sign is we have this switch, and it's not like the Gemini has two faces, right? That's not what I'm talking about here. We are an earth sign, naturally grounded, but we have a switch. And I don't know if the switch is a good or a bad quality. I will say that it has served me well. But people who are on the receiving end of this switch are not always fans of the Capricorn. What happens is Capricorns are fiercely loyal. They're fiercely loyal. And in relationships, we keep our noses pretty clean. We're probably, now this is the healed, this is how the healed Capricorn behaves. The unhealed Capricorn, that's a totally different story. Unhealed Capricorns are the worst. And I used to be an unhealed Capricorn, and I can speak about that all day long. What I'm talking about right now is the healed Capricorn and how we behave just in general and in our relationships. But we are loyal. We are not going to disrespect you, not intentionally. We're very self-aware, and if we feel tempted to engage in any kind of disrespectful behavior, we usually kind of check ourselves before we wreck ourselves, because our reputations are important to us. And we don't necessarily live and die by what people think about us, but the people that we care about, and even the people that we don't really care about, we want to be perceived as who we truly are. And we're not disrespectful, cold, aloof people like that's a big stereotype for Capricorns, is we're cold and we're aloof. That's not true. And we're also labeled as introverts. And that's not true either. You can't put a Capricorn in any kind of a category. Introvert, extrovert. You can't do it. We don't fall into those categories, because the way we behave depends on the environment that we're in. And if we are in an environment that is conducive to what makes us feel relaxed and peaceful, then we can be the life of the party. But if you throw us into an environment that's chaotic and loud, and we're forced to have hours and hours and hours of useless small talk in a noisy environment, Jesus Christ, that's what makes us appear to be introverts, and it absolutely drains our energy. So just to give you a little background on some pretty common characteristics of Capricorns there. Don't judge a Capricorn. Get to know a Capricorn if they let you. If they let you get to know them. So back to being fiercely loyal in relationships, because this is relevant to what we'll ask about the Capricorn switch. So if we care enough about someone to get into a relationship with them, spend time with them, get to know them, trust them, okay, then we're invested for a reason. We're there for a reason. It's intentional. Everything that Capricorns do It's all intentional. We rarely behave recklessly or without strategy. And that is very, very prevalent in our relationships and who we choose to spend our time with. Now, if we get into a relationship with somebody and it turns into being more of a hassle than happiness, we're going to start rethinking that person. If that person is disrespectful a lot, if they violate boundaries, if they're an asshole, and that means somebody who constantly wants advice but never takes it. All right, if we're dealing with someone like that, we won't exit the relationship right away. But what Capricorns do is they keep this ongoing file right up here, this mental file of everything that you do. We don't miss shit. Everything you do. It's like we are the judge and the jury, all right? And we may not say anything to anybody that someone is on our radar and we are evaluating where they should stand in our world. So we get this mental file going, and once you get a file, you're kind of fucked, because if you get a file, then that means we're paying attention to what you're doing. And if you are a disrespectful person who's lying, God, don't lie to a Capricorn. Tell them the truth no matter how bad it is. But if you're lying, if you're concealing things, that Capricorn's going to find out. And if they find out secondhand or third hand, you're screwed. You're screwed. There's usually no coming back from that. And so once that mental file gets going on someone, that Capricorn is already exiting that relationship. They may not even give you any signs, but they are pulling their emotions away. They are stepping out of the relationship mentally and emotionally, but physically, they're still there. They're still playing a role because they haven't figured out exactly how they want to end the relationship. They haven't maybe even figured out how much longer it's going to be. There are things that are undecided, but they are building a case. When the case is complete, whatever that looks like or feels like to that Capricorn, they flip the switch. And that switch can be brutal, but it's usually the outcome of long-term abuse, disrespect. We can't stand annoying, overzealous people. If we've tolerated that bullshit for months, years, whatever, and we just get to the point like, you know what, this person's getting worse. I see it. These are observations. These are not judgments. We're very fair people. Very, very fair. We don't judge. We try hard not to judge. And when we do, it's not usually too harsh because we're emotionally intelligent people and we have empathy. So we can step into the shoes of somebody else and we can admit faults. Hey, maybe I've been guilty of doing that a time or two too. So it's not like we're not fair. We're very fair. It just gets to the point that enough is enough. And when we get to that point, when a relationship is one-sided and we're not getting anything out of it anymore and it's driving us nuts, then we're going to flip the switch. And we depending on how you've behaved, we may or may not explain it. But the switch, it's almost like when we step away, we step out of a relationship that we've been completely taken for granted, and the person just thought that we would stick around because we're very compassionate and loyal and empathetic and give people way too many chances, then the person is just shocked, when we are no longer there to listen to their bullshit or pay their bill or host them in our home when they're just being completely and totally disrespectful, never say thank you, whatever the case may be. And so a person that they thought was in their corner forever suddenly is cold and aloof and not available. And that's the switch. And we walk away, we walk away. When we walk away, we don't go back. If we've walked away from you, we will not go back. No matter who you are, we won't go back, because that is a decision that was not made overnight. That was a decision that took possibly years to make. And there's been a lot of thought and a lot of research and a lot of evidence collected. And it's in that file. It's in that file. So don't let a Capricorn start building a file again on you. It's not going to go in your favor. The way that the Capricorn switch works is why a lot of Capricorn women get stalked. The Capricorn woman is in a relationship, and I'm talking about with a man in a relationship, and the man is he's lying. It becomes one-sided. He's not making the Capricorn woman happy anymore. He's more of a pain in the ass than he is anything. She senses that she can't trust him. And when a Capricorn's trust is betrayed or broken, you're fucked. But if all these things have been going on, and she may be right there in the relationship and not really, say too much. But then he starts sensing that she's distant. She's not available. She don't want to talk to his ass no more. She's not putting up with his shit anymore. So while he's been taking her for granted, she has been packing up her emotional suitcase. And she's been out of the relationship for a long time before she makes that exit. So when she makes that exit, it feels very abrupt to him, but not to her, because Capricorns are intentional and strategic, and they think everything through from top to bottom. So by the time a Capricorn woman exits a relationship, she's already over the guy. She's done. She's over it. And so he's kind of left standing there going, what the hell? And if he is not mentally or emotionally stable, then he cannot handle the breakup. And that's where the stalking comes in. And on those videos that Will was talking about on TikTok, there are thousands and thousands and thousands of comments at this point. And so many women are talking in the comments about how they have been stalked and that they have boyfriends from high school that are still stalking them. I absolutely have the exact same situation. Same person has been stalking me for a couple of decades, longer than that. Actually, longer than that. I'm 48, and it started when I was uh 19, 20, maybe something like that. And it's still going on. So it's a real thing. It's legit. And I would love, if you're watching or you're listening, if you're a Capricorn woman and you've experienced this, uh please share your story. I really do want to hear it. But there is also another kind of switch, and this goes to what I referenced earlier about the unhealed Capricorn. The unhealed Capricorn is the absolute worst. It's like a force. And as far as relationships are concerned, it's real hard for two Capricorns to coexist. Real hard. As a matter of fact, I don't really know if it would be possible. And if you're watching or listening and you've made it successfully as a Capricorn couple, if both of you are Capricorns, then I want to hear from you. I want to know who you are and how long you've been together and what your relationship is like. I cannot imagine being with another Capricorn, especially a Capricorn who hadn't done the inner work. Capricorns are earth signs, and that means that we are, like I said earlier, just naturally grounded, even in our unhealed phase. Like as kids, we might appear to be like old souls. I mean, that's what I was. I never behaved much like a kid. I didn't get into the things that other kids got into, and that's why it's hard for me to relate to kids to this day. But Capricorns they're compatible and they thrive with water signs. Like my husband Will, he's a Cancer. He's a water sign, and it's like there's some balance there, right? Earth and water, the two can't exist without the other. They complement each other. They both bring something to the table to help each survive. And so you got those balancing components there, earth and water, plus earth solid, water flowing fluid. Capricorns need someone in their lives to balance out that solidness in them. Okay? So with that said, here's the other kind of switch. The unhealed Capricorn also can make a switch. So when a Capricorn decides to do something, they do it. And they will commit to whatever decision that they make. And that decision can be good or it can be bad. Whatever it is, they commit to it. And when a Capricorn is struggling with trauma, heavy emotions, and whether they are aware of it or not, if they are just behaving mindlessly and letting their subconscious beliefs, lead the way and control their behaviors, then they may decide to self-sabotage, because a Capricorn struggle with vices because they want to do the right thing. We want to do the right thing. And we've got a strong work ethic. And it's so strong that we can get obsessed with our careers and with being successful and what that means to us, because we're going to create the world we want to live in no matter what. And we can get obsessed with those goals. And then there's another side to where we say, fuck it. I'm sick of doing the right thing. I'm going to do what I want to do. And I'm just going to go have fun and enjoy myself, just like a normal human being. I'm tired of doing the right thing all the time. It's like a tug of war. And when you haven't done the inner work, then you're more likely to say, fuck it, and self sabotage. And when a Capricorn decides to self sabotage, whether that decision is conscious or subconscious, look the fuck out. Everything changes. That's the switch. I decided to not care after something traumatic happened when I was 18. I decided to not care. And it wasn't just teenage stuff. It wasn't just it was more than growing pains. It was me absolutely blocking out what I needed to deal with. But I just decided that I just fuck it. I don't care. I'm gonna do whatever I want to do. And within about a year and a half, I did not look like the same person. I had gone from a size 6 to a size 16. I didn't look the same. Traces of my personality were absolutely still there, but I was doing things that I typically would not do. Just a total asshole. Total asshole. An unhealed Capricorn is a total asshole. So at that point, I made a switch and everything about me changed. My inner circle, my outer appearance, my thoughts, my behaviors, everything changed. And I went from being a pretty decent person to uh someone that I wasn't proud of at all. And Capricorns are we care about our appearance. I mean, we care about what we look like. And if you know any Capricorn at all, like if they're in their good phase, their appearance likely it's meticulous. Everything is going to be in place from head to toe. Even I'm not talking about, even if they're not all hair and makeup up or dressed up. I'm just saying they have a look, and it's a good one. It's a polished look. Pay attention to Capricorns. But when they make that switch, that look changes. And there are some famous examples of Capricorns who have done this. You can tell by looking at a Capricorn how they feel. You can tell if they're happy, if they're sad, if they're healthy, if they're unhealthy. You can tell if they're satisfied, if they're not satisfied. Their outer appearance says it all. Elvis Presley is the best example that I can think of, because at some point, Elvis made a decision to say, fuck it, I'm done. And my theory is he had committed to not outliving his mother. His mother died when Gladys was 43, I'm pretty sure, when she died, and Elvis was 42. If you take a look at Elvis Presley at his Aloha from Hawaii concert, that was in 73, and you take a look at him 4 years later at his final concert in 1977, you talk about a switch. He's almost unrecognizable. He went from being the best looking person in the world to looking like someone that you wouldn't turn around and really look at twice. He was puffy, and he looked terrible, and he was not in his right mind. But that is an example of how the switch operates. It's it's very it's very complicated. It's a very complicated concept.
I think I understand it a little better now. Um, And hopefully everybody else out there enjoyed this episode. Know that you can always find us anywhere you get your podcasts. You can also see the video on YouTube. And we look forward to seeing you guys next week.
The Thought SNOB Podcast with Paula Swope has been brought to you by Thought SNOB Media in association with Special Purpose Studios. All production, mixing, and sound engineering by me, Will Swope. We hope you've enjoyed this podcast. Please take a few seconds to give us 5 stars and leave a review. See you on the next Thought SNOB Podcast with Paula Swope.